Sid the Kid, are you signing a contract or not? Welcome in, everyone. My name is Sam. Welcome to another episode of the Rush Hockey Podcast here on my channel. I want to say thank you guys for being able to come out to my channel and supporting me and dropping the likes, even viewing the channel and dropping in some of your healthy comments. I appreciate that. Today, we're not going to be discussing anything Edmonton Oilers related, but we are going to look at a player that has had significant impact on in the NHL, I should say. In 2005, Sidney Crosby was drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and since then, he has been everything that has been touted by every single scout. He is the generational talent, often referred to as Sid the Kid, or referred to as the next one after Wayne Gretzky, of course. Sidney Crosby had a very illustrious career, being named to several All-Star teams, a Stanley Cup champion, a gold medal champion, and even an ESPN award winner for star athlete. So Sidney Crosby has got a wide range of trophies in his case, and he's essentially done it all. And he's still at this level producing at the age that he's producing at. It's 2024, and he was in 2005. So you guys do the math of how many seasons he's been in the NHL. But with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby, his contract is coming to an end, and there's no news of him actually re-signing a contract, but that's, of course, out there. I'm pretty confident he will sign a contract in Pittsburgh, but let's just say, for argument's sake, he didn't. I decided to come up with a few different options of where Sidney Crosby could potentially play to maximize the last remaining years of his career. So stick along with me. Let's enjoy this ride. And remember, this is all speculation on my part. There's no guarantee that any of this would happen. And it's not really something that I am projecting is speculated out there. I'm just throwing out an opinion, and we'll see what happens. And as always, you guys are all more than welcome to always tell me what you think of the ideas. Maybe if I'm missing a team, or maybe if I'm missing an option, let me know. I'd like to see it in the comments. So let's go right ahead and get into it. Starting off, number one at my list would be the New York Rangers. They have about $5.12 million in cap space currently, and they are a very good team. Could you imagine Sidney Crosby being on the New York Rangers, the leadership he would bring to that young core that could make them potential Stanley Cup winners for the next few years? They have been the President's Trophy champion, and they have made deep playoff runs. They have superstars like Artemi Panarin, and they have young stars like Lafreniere. Could you imagine Sidney Crosby on a line with Chris Kreider or Zibanejad or Panarin or Lafreniere? I think that would make for a really cool, interesting story to see Sidney Crosby in Broadway on the biggest stage of them all in New York. And that would definitely bring a lot of market attention to the sport of hockey. And I think that would be a really, really cool, interesting dynamic to have Sidney Crosby potentially go to the New York Rangers and, who knows, win a Stanley Cup. But you'll never know. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Another really cool option of a place that Sidney Crosby could go and play at would be Dallas Stars. Playing in Texas with Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Miro Heiskanen, I think that would be another amazing combination and a very good opportunity for the Dallas Stars to potentially chase for one more Stanley Cup at the end of their closing window here with some of their players aging. Sidney Crosby would bring an immense amount of leadership to that team, and he would solidify pretty much the first two lines in the power play unit. He could make that veteran team go over the hump and potentially win the Stanley Cup. Sidney Crosby in green? Tell me what you think. All right, Pittsburgh fans, I know this one might sting a little bit because he would kind of somewhat be donning some of the similar colors, but imagine him being on the Boston Bruins. That would be insane. Boston has the cap space to potentially take on his contract if he signs $8 million or if he signs less. Boston has the need for a strong presence down the center. Yes, they did sign Lindholm, but Sidney Crosby would be a phenomenal addition to this team. He could distribute the puck and allow Boston to have a new form of attack rather than just Marchand or Pastrnak or McAvoy. These are the names that I'm listing, and now they've added Elias Lindholm. Could you imagine that first power play unit with all of those guys on the ice? This would be a dynamic option for Sidney Crosby, and it would help the Boston players capture and go over the hump and get to the Stanley Cup final, potentially capturing another Stanley Cup at the end of Marchand or Pasternak's career here. Would be a viable option. Sidney Crosby, Pasternak, Marchand sailing off in the sunset with a Stanley Cup. I think that would be a pretty cool thing to watch. And it would be exciting for hockey. The big bad Bruins taking on Sid the Kid. Let me know what you think. Another potential option that we could see Sidney Crosby take if he doesn't sign his contract in Pittsburgh would be the Colorado Avalanche. They do have the window to make the Stanley Cup playoffs, definitely in the next 3 years, and each year they will make it. And with Sidney Crosby, maybe this could push them over the hump and capture that cup. Imagine Sidney Crosby on a line with Nathan MacKinnon or Mikko Rantanen, or getting a puck from Cal McCarr, or delivering a puck to Cal McCarr to put in the back of the net. Colorado has a very young, dynamic team, and Sidney Crosby would definitely add some leadership, Stanley Cup pedigree to that team, and a winning mentality already on top of what Colorado has. Now, Sidney Crosby coming out west, like we said in Dallas, would be a huge challenge, but the difference here is Sidney Crosby would be working with a much younger team of superstars as opposed to Dallas's older veteran presence team. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Could you see Sidney Crosby in a Colorado jersey? Last but certainly not least is obviously as an NHL fan, as a hockey fan, as a person who has followed hockey for a very long time, I don't really like seeing star players leaving their teams, and I personally would love to see Sidney Crosby re-sign his contract in Pittsburgh, which is ideally the most likely situation going to happen. But all the other teams that I listed, of course, speculation, would be kind of cool as an NHL fan to see him on different teams, but my heart of hearts says that Sidney Crosby should stay on the Pittsburgh Penguins and should re-sign and end his career there. He's done so much for that franchise and so much for that organization and its fan base. He has brought hockey a brand new meaning in that state. So for all the Pittsburgh fans out there, I'm sorry that I had to put you through all the other options, but realistically, this is the option that I want, and I just was speculating all the other stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this whole speculation of Sidney Crosby on those other teams, whether you like the ideas or not. Always feel free to comment, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I will see you on the next video.